So I didn't vote in 2016, and it can be kind of hard to explain why. I'm going to try and do my best right now to kind of go through what 2016 Yasin was thinking and how I've kind of come around, how my thoughts have changed. But to kind of get into it, in 2016, we were presented with the options of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And I wasn't someone who didn't vote because I was like, oh, voting doesn't matter, voting is stupid, one vote doesn't make a difference, it's not important. It was actually kind of the opposite. I thought voting was very important. I still do. I think other than like you yourself running for some kind of position or writing legislation or volunteering / working on some kind of campaign, aside of those things, voting is the best tool you have as just like an everyday citizen to try to impact change. And so I think I put a little bit too much of an importance on who my vote was going to. Because I kind of looked at my vote like a currency. The same way you wouldn't really spend money on something that you don't want, I didn't really know what to do with my vote when neither candidate was one that I wanted. And so I had this vote, and I was like, all right, I don't want either of these people to be president, so who do I give this vote to when the purpose of this vote is to give it to somebody who I want to be president? I was kind of stuck in that loop where I was just kind of like, I don't want either one, so who do I give it to if the point of my vote, the way that transaction, if you will, is supposed to go is take this because this will help you get into the White House to do the things that I want you to do. Just like the way buying something is take this dollar or whatever and give me the thing that I want. And I want to say I'm not necessarily alone in that. Like 2016 saw a lot of people who didn't vote, and in terms of why that was, I'm sure there were a lot of reasons, but I can only imagine there were some people who were kind of in my boat where they were just like, I want to vote for something, I don't want to vote against something. I don't want to vote for person A simply because I hate person B. Even though I don't like person A, I'm just going to do it because I really hate person B. I didn't feel good about doing that. I wanted to vote for something. I wanted to vote for someone. And say, hey, I want to vote for person A because I really like person A and I want them to be in the White House, etc., etc. And while I can kind of appreciate the starry-eyed ideology that 2016 Yasin had, I think that where I'm at now and the reason I voted this year around was because I realized things are a lot muddier and you kind of have to get your hands dirty. You see, I've kind of come to the realization / I've accepted the fact that you have to be willing to get your hands dirty. What I mean by that is life isn't perfect. Politics, by no means perfect. It can be very frustrating, like hair pulling at times even, but they are the rules of the game, if you will. And while it's extremely, extremely frustrating to play by these rules, and they feel like these rules are bent and kind of not made for us or for change or for this, they are the rules that you have to play by. And you have to try and do everything that you can to make progressive progress in the direction that you want to go in. So, in terms of my choice to vote this time around, it really boiled down to the fact that I'd rather have some say than no say at all. This time around was a very similar situation. in that there was two options, neither of which I really liked. I was a huge fan of Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang was actually somebody who kind of restored my, I guess, faith in politics, if you will. Right? He was an individual who I admired greatly, and I still do, and I will still be supporting him, but in terms of what it was that I could do now, what it boiled down to for me is I have two options. One of these dudes is going to get elected. I should at the very least try to get the one elected that's willing to listen to me. Trump has made it abundantly clear that no matter how much we protest him, no matter how much we urge him, or even just try to extend an olive branch and speak with him, he's not very interested in listening. He's more interested in just doing what it is that he wants to do. And so while Joe Biden doesn't represent all the same values that I have, or that Andrew Yang has, or that Bernie Sanders has, or that more progressive people like myself have, at the very least, he's somebody that I can badger and possibly get to listen. Elections aren't like a marriage. You're not stuck in this forever. They're more like a bus. So it's not about trying to pick the one perfect partner that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, but rather let's get on this bus that's headed in the generally right direction. Right? It might not be going right to in front of our house, but at the very least, is it going east versus west? And it's continuing to fight those fights and get on those buses step by step that'll eventually lead you to where it is that you want to get. And now some people might say that, well, you'll never actually get there, so what's the point, and et cetera, et cetera. But that's more of a pessimistic view that I don't think that I could live with, really. I think that faced with the choice of screaming at the wall or at this camera about how angry I am and how frustratingly difficult all of this is and how it's fucked and we're all fucked and there's no point and it's pointless because we're never going to get to where we want to get to, that is an extremely depressing and sad and angry life that I don't want to live. I'd rather get on bus after bus after bus and try to get as close to home as possible and kind of really enjoy that journey of fighting to get to where it is that I want, as opposed to kind of throwing my hands up, screaming at the wall, and scrolling through these feeds that just make me angrier and angrier. That just doesn't seem like the kind of life that I want to live.